Aloha, welcome to Java. Thank you so much for joining. This is for Friday, December 15th, 2023. There's so much going on, so we're going to get right into it with the markets. Our favorite risk indicator, the MMRI, dropped. It is now below 250, still in the high range, but we've got a few things going on. So going into the relative strength of the dollar and the US 10-year yield, both of them are at support levels right now. What does that mean? Basically, the markets are all green on a buy-in on the Fed pivot, and the futures are in agreement at this moment. But if the dollar and the US 10-year yield rise, that will actually put pressure on the prices of stocks, and we should see a bit of a correction, meaning they will drop. Probably a little later today, I'll explain why. So for our calendar, 9:45, we're expecting some manufacturing numbers. I don't expect there to be huge movement on that. I do expect them to be, they are in decline, but whether they're expected in the decline or not will make the difference. It's the language that's important. So more, I think this will have an effect. Traders bracing for a chaotic triple witching Friday as $5 trillion expiring options. So basically what's going on is there are bets, hedged bets, $5 trillion. And if market makers can make the pricing move out of this window of their estimated prices, they get to keep all of the basically the premium is what they call it for the debt, in case you're not an options trader. So what happens typically is the last hour of the day between 3 and 4 p.m. standard time, daylight time, is that market makers, the prices will push both directions, both prices up and to drop to clear out both sides of these options trade. So I do expect stocks to rise, but then also volatility chop toward the end of the day, and also to have some pressure on them and come down for a bit. Moving on, I think this is really what they're after. There's $6 trillion cash hoard sitting on the sidelines. What do they mean by that? There have been a lot of people that have been calling for a crash and waiting until prices dropped. Then they wanted to purchase, like at a discount, these stocks that they wanted to get hold of. So now that they see that the Fed is pivoting, prices are going to rise, this money will move into the market. And I think that's their point, is to kind of soak up all of that money before it dumps out. Okay, and this is basically the current sentiment is the Fed's buy everything party roars on. That's why we're in the green for now. So we've also got Fidelity, JP Morgan. Now this is a little bit more, slightly longer term. Timing is very important. Like language, timing doesn't matter about the price, it's when. So they are talking about the stronger dollar is going to come into play. And if there is a stronger dollar, that means that we are hitting a recession again. So how deep, we don't know, but everybody is on one side of the boat at this moment where they're buying everything green on stocks. And they're on the other side. So with banks, we had Citigroup shutting down their municipal business side. They've been going through major structural changes. And there are a lot of underlying issues still with commercial real estate. So more and more analysts are calling the commercial real estate issue as being the largest risk in the market now. So along with that, we've got FDIC run Signature Bridge Bank selling 20% of their $16.8 billion real estate portfolio. So first question you should ask is, why does the FDIC have real estate in the first place? Well, the reason is because they overtook this bank, put it in receivership, so now they have the assets and they're going to dispose of them. Who are they going to use? Well, BlackRock. So on the other side of the front, we've got the Russian central bank. They're increasing their interest rates. When they're raising their interest rates, they are strengthening their currency. So the ruble is becoming more of a strong and a more trusted currency. So back when their assets were basically seized by the US, it was roughly half of the country's assets between the reserves and everything that was on deposit with the United States. So, but they're still slowly recovering from that, even though they're sanctioned. So Russia's gold reserves hit a new record. They've been pretty much stacking in the background, and once they hit a certain point, they won't really care what the United States does financially. Okay, so British economic contraction was worse than expected. They're in a recession, and now they're finally admitting it on their side. So they're going down. Labor is dropping, unemployment rising, and then also next door, their manufacturing brother over there, Germany, is also taking large hit. So between the winter hitting, high fuel costs, we'll see how deep this recession goes for them, and to see if it is basically contagious and starts spreading through the system. So energy. Western world really trying to make a shift off of fossil fuels. So they're going to nuclear power, which is not necessarily much cleaner. Once this goes through, there are spent rods that must be disposed of, or at least contained, because they are radioactive after a time. At any rate, the US approved a new kind of nuclear reactor for the first time in 50 years. Haven't authorized this new kind of reactor, and the scalable technology uses molten salt as coolant. I thought that was interesting. Now to lava updates. We've got FISA702 passed with the NDAA. They snacked this through, and now that opens up to surveillance on US citizens in pretty much open capacity. Now they're saying they won't use it, but we know how that works. And there hasn't been enough fight in this, in my opinion. Anyway, we've got Russia, their top spy warning of a new CIA scheme. So the US is basically CIA considering a project of creating a virtual, supposedly legitimate state outside of Russian Federation called the Russian Republic. And basically, we've done this in multiple other countries, and that's how they start coups and put in place people that we want in that particular country in control. Pretty interesting. You want more information on that? I've spoken about this a little bit before. There is a video in the description, link to it. I encourage you to watch it. So moving on with our last one, with OpenAI, ChatGPT 4.5, the next version coming out. And this is kind of rumored, but their new models are Arrakis and Gobi. These projects are working on. And basically, they are working on higher percentage of self-learning artificial intelligence. And this is a huge race to who can get these done first. So we've got Amazon with Alexa and basically their own models that they're kind of being quiet about in the background. Twitter has, or X, formerly known as Twitter, I should say, has Grok. And I haven't seen a lot of the internal development of that. However, they are in the game, and there's multiple others. I prefer the open source, but these are just the large players pushing theirs through. And we've also got Google with Gemini Ultra. So as soon as OpenAI let it be known that they were putting out these projects, Google pushed out Gemini, their next version. So it's coming up at an amazing pace, this crazy technology. Last thing I'd like to leave you with, the sun's strongest solar flare in years. Knocked out radio frequencies. This was in South America, but there is a bit more of it that's expected to hit Sunday. So if you want to be cautious, might be a good day to put some of your electronics in Faraday box or Faraday cloth. And as far as Faraday box, you can even wrap it in aluminum foil if you would like to. Just make sure it's wrapped completely. And that would work as well. So as always, live, trade, and think outside their system. We're going to be just fine. There's a lot of hope in this world. So until I see you again, my friends, stay free.